As a result of the efforts of this channel, a congressional hearing is held at Congress about the EIDL grant and loan today. What happened? What went on? And what was not said? A lot of shocking details and bombshells left and right. Thanks for tuning in. This is LALATE. As always, like and subscribe to this channel and drop your comments below, and we may feature them in tomorrow's recording. And please hit that bell on the front of this channel so you can alert when a new video goes live. Today, as you know, we usually do an EIDL loan video about 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and an EIDL grant video at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Those videos are coming up, pushed back a little bit, because this video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to go over everything that happened today, everything that didn't happen today, and everything you haven't heard about what happened today. I mean, I know you love the shirt, but I hope you like me better by the end of this video. So here we go. A congressional hearing was held today at the Senate by a subcommittee on the SBA. The Senate committee is made up of half Republicans and half Democrats. I'm giving you details because this is all very important about what I'm about to say. In attendance was Steve Mnuchin. It was like, just in the peanut gallery on the side because no one really asked him any questions. But at front and center was the Honorable Jovita Carranza, who is there to answer questions. LALATE has obtained the actual transcript of the hearing, so we aren't going to sugarcoat it for you. We aren't going to spin what was said and insert what wasn't said. This was the discussion, and these were the words that actually came out of the Honorable Carranza's voice. I want to give you a summary first of where I'm going with this. First, discussion about the $10,000 grant. Was that discussed broadly? Two, how about the $1,000 per employee? Was that discussed? Yes. Was it answered? Well, you're going to have to tune in for that. Three, the so-called reopening of the SBA EIDL loan portal. Was that discussed? Well, if you blinked, you might have missed it. And fourth, the broadening of the EIDL loan and grant process. So let's get right to it. First, despite what some people want to tell you, with a lot of energy, a lot of spirit, and I appreciate their hustle, there was nothing, zero in today's hearing that said you're going to get the EIDL grant up to $10,000, that you were going to get the remainder of the $10,000 of the EIDL grant. It was simply not said. So, you can put 5 people in the same room and listen to the same thing and read the transcript as I'm about to read to you, but it was not said. It absolutely was not said that you're going to get the remainder of the $10,000 grant today. In fact, when asked, it was clear at its point that SBA still refuses to pay it to you. That is the current situation. Second, as to senators, there were senators from the Republican Party in attendance and senators from the Democratic Party in attendance. And of the senators that were in the Republican Party in attendance, they were basically about to braid her hair and knit her a quilt and tell her how wonderfully she's treated you. On the other side, the Democrats were like some cartoon character. I mean, they were like lizards about to attack her. But she did a very good job. I want to add one side point. I want you to Google what the weather is today in Washington, D.C. It's 98 degrees. And the Honorable Jovita Carranza, who claims to have the heart of America's small business at issue, was dressed like it was 25 degrees below zero in a full scarf and suit. It's currently 98 degrees here in Los Angeles, 96 degrees in Los Angeles, and I'm melting for you. So that's the contrast between her and myself. That was that. There was also discussions about the $1,000 per employee and whether or not SBA would get off that Days of Our Lives auditioning script of paying you more than $1,000 per employee. The net result was there was no change. There was absolutely no change. Next, increasing loan limits. Who cares? I mean, really? Am I going to make a video proclaiming, yay, SBA is increasing your loan limits so they can take more collateralization of your truck and your business and your home, and then when you don't pay the bill, they're going to come and take it at 150% penalty rates. Who wants that? The vast majority of this channel has had offers above the $25,000 when they have had loan offers. They've actually got someone on the phone to give them a loan offer. The loan offers have been over $25,000, and they've negotiated them under $25,000 or reduced them under $25,000 per the advice of this channel to $24,900. So who cares that the Honorable Jovita Carranza wants to now offer you more money so that she can collateralize you? Thank you. No, thank you. So there we are. And finally, the reopening of the SBA process. I got to say, of all the viewers of this channel, it's in the last 60 days since this channel has been around, 99% of you have already applied for the EIDL loan process. There are an occasional 2 or 3 viewers per week that say, I want to apply, I missed it. Okay. I'll be here for another 12 years because your application is going to start being accepted next week. But she also said that everyone else who is basically the viewers of this channel, who have not had their loans processed, their loans accepted, their loans received, their loans whatever, they're all going to be done by next week. Yeah, this is coming from the person who said they're going to pay your loans within 3 business days. So let's get right to the details. A lot of hot air. First of all, this is what she said. Absolutely, there's a focus at the SBA. I'm going to read it out. I would love to read it like how she basically sat like this the entire time. But she said, absolutely, there's a focus of the SBA, and this is how we're jumping in. There's a focus of the SBA with sole proprietors and independent contractors because they are really not the ones who are going to aggressively pursue loans. Excuse me, honey? That's ridiculous. And so we've had a task force at SBA dedicated to those particular communities. Particular communities? That's not a community, sole proprietors. So we have a task force, and as we've dedicated resources, look at how we can optimize that community. We've done really well up to this point. They have not, and we could do more. Yeah, you could do a lot more. The vast majority of those viewers of this channel have been 1 or 2 employee sole proprietors or very small businesses, and they've got to nothing. They've got to nothing, Honorable Carranza. So how dare you say that they are not aggressively pursuing loans? We've had 2.1 million viewers in 2 months. You're saying they're not aggressively pursuing the loans? They absolutely are. And you're not doing anything for them. She says, well, thank you. It's very important that I'm out of time, but the more transparent we can be, the more the people understand what's going on with the program. The less frustration, the more understanding we will have. Yeah, I mean, I should basically have goalposts behind me, and every time she's transparent, I can hit the goalpost. The problem is that the goalpost would leave the set every time she's not transparent. So thank you for both. We continue to have a bipartisan approach to helping the small businesses in the country. If you watched today, it was not bipartisan. The Republicans were hugging her to death, in hypothetically hugging her and about to knit her a quilt and braid her hair. And the Democrats were saying, hey, you're not complying. SBA takes the affiliation rules, the CARES Act, very, very closely and fairly. And at this point, I would just like to say that the affiliations are being looked at, and I'm not in a position to speak about any particular borrower at this point. She's not in a position to speak about one of you. How about 2.1 million viewers of you? How about 20 of you? How about 50 states of you? She can't speak about any of you, one of you, but can she speak to any of you? It's when Senator Rosen asked a question that the table sort of started to move, and this was her response. Senator Rosen, I appreciate your question because it's been raised, and the question, as you know, let me preface it, was why did you start to pay people $1,500 per employee when under the CARES Act you were supposed to pay them $10,000 when they requested $10,000? They asked exactly the question you have been asking, and this was her answer. Pay careful attention. I've been dealing with this personally because of small businesses approach my office as well. I get personal emails. Oh, what's your personal email? I'd love to contact you. And follow up on this request. I'm very close to the situation, but I want to reassure members of the committee that it wasn't an arbitrary number. No. It's a matter of realizing that there were over 5 million applications in the queues, and thank you, Senator Cardin, for providing the council the opportunity to speak with the chairman about what was in the pipeline, that the facts were exhausted, the $7 billion in the pipeline, what we had available to ensure that we gave not something, but based on 6 months of operating costs. This is basically how the formula calculated, and the average loan at the time giving was realized about $83,000. That was one sentence. That was one sentence. What does it say? Well, I don't know what you're saying. So we thought if we could manage the decisions that we made, we could manage the 5 million applications already in the queue that had been waiting for the funds, that we could cover all the $50 billion subsidy. Where's the answer? There is no answer. There's literally no answer. She is about as evasive can be. And let me preface what you don't hear in her response. And it's a great question. The one most wonderful question today that came from Democrats was, okay, you wanted to pay $1,000 per employee. Why did you want to do it? She said, I was worried we were going to run out of funds. So the follow-up question is, why didn't you come back to us and ask for more funds? She had absolutely no response to that. Her response was basically, I don't know. I didn't come back and ask for more money. Instead, what she said is, hey, we're doing such a great job and we're closing out all the files we have by the end of this week, and we're opening up for new people so we can screw them over as well. It's ridiculous. It's totally absurd. What's more disconcerting is that she actually says the average EIDL loan amount was $83,000. I mean, I did a video on that for you 2 weeks ago. The average EIDL loan amount was not $83,000, it was $220,000. And that the vast majority of loans were paid in states that were not impacted by COVID-19. So don't sit up there and pat yourself on the back about your numbers when your numbers don't show that you gave it to states that were in need, you gave it to states that were not in need, and that you paid really a lot of money. We had a video just on New Hampshire and Vermont that had when comparing New York and other states that had enormous numbers of COVID-19 cases, got far more money than those other states really in need. But bottom line is, when asked, why did you not pay the $10,000, she said, we were afraid we're going to run out of money. When asked, why don't you do it now, pay it now? You know what she says? We hired a general counsel to deal with problems. So guess where your money is? It's going to the lawyer. And then she talked about how much staffing has been added. She read, I've hired this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. Great. Where's all the money for the businesses? Oh, and by the way, Kimberly Butler got a 30% bonus this year. If some of you have been asking, we already did a video on that. So if you're wondering where your grant money went, it didn't go to you. But I think you already knew that. Here is what the questions then these are what she was then asked. How are you going to provide this committee with the information about the breaches of rules in the statutes so we can conduct an oversight? How are we going to conduct our oversight? And if we don't know the details, and since you won't do it now, when will you do it? And what are the guidelines in disclosing the information to us? If you're still with me, there's more of this coming up in a second. Because we're far from over. Well, this is up for you, and for the record, I like to say it's important for this committee to conduct its oversight and rules that are written in the statute, and I want answers, and how they're Planned Parenthood. So we'll follow up with you in the Department of Justice. I'm just saying for the record, it will not be acceptable to me that you're not going to tell us or get back to us with a response. And frankly, the pattern of unresponsiveness from the SBA through this process has been disturbing, which I said from the record, and I'll say it again today, and one other thing. I mean, that's enough. I mean, how much more else do you got to say to her? So then she responds again to the final response about the $1,000 per employee. But the one common complaint that I've received repeatedly is about the SBA's 1,000 employee cap and the EIDL advance grants and the $150,000 cap on the EIDL loan. What What is she talking about, this $150,000 cap in the EIDL loan? You're paying an average of $220. I mean, we have the data. There's no cap of $150. She doesn't even know what her office is doing. That's a 93% deduction for the $2 million level. And I've raised a few weeks ago. We're on the phone. So the administrator, following up on the banking members, asked for support. Again, just a lot of rambling. The bottom line is, and then she says this. By the end of next week, all the EIDL loans, all the $5 million we have, will be in the loan portal. Within that time, all those loans will be processed and we'll be over with the EIDL. The media, that was the Republican who jumps in and says, the media has focused on the glitches. The big story has been what a success you have been. Lord, really? Come on now. And she says that she's going to be reconciling, or whatever crazy verb she used, reconciling 65,000 applicants, which is probably, nothing. She thinks that you need more money so she can push you into collateralization next week, and then we'll be taking on new applications as well. So there you go. I didn't even get to this house part of this matter. I'm going to drop that in the EIDL loan video coming up next. So if you have questions about as this channel has done, we have focused on you personally for your entire journey. So we'll be answering your EIDL loan and EIDL grant questions shortly in those videos. This is far from over. Stay with LA for more.